Awesome. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Enhancements subgroup meeting on August 5th. Justin and I are here today, and um, our first order of business is the relevance of this meeting still, and what should we do about attendance? Like, is attendance an indication of this being a high priority still in the community? And if it is not, how can we like promote this more and like engage others? Maybe it's a matter of like thinking of our format of going about this too. Like maybe we don't need meetings and we can like bring this into like the combined working group instead. Um, and so on. So to begin with my thoughts, I think for the most part, with the promotion of the APIs, that got rid of like the a lot of the tech that had a lot of people pushing for the enhancement subgroup. But now I'm seeing like the role of the group is sort of like how we can support what's happening in like the combined working group. A lot of the conversations usually get dropped, or folks will either start an issue and it isn't really pushed along. For instance, like the application of the in cluster operator. So I see like the enhancements time as an opportunity to be like, hey, what can we do to push this along or move this forward still, or like continue the conversation? And most times that can indeed happen in the Slack channel, or like in discussions that we have in the combined working group as well as in issues. And for the past, since release 1.22, we haven't had like a lot of like meaningful attendance to even come up with a new goal, far less like something that we can engage in as a subgroup. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts, Justin? I still think it's beneficial. It's just a matter of like more so I'm taking it on myself to do a lot of like the enhancements work around like what is happening and like making sure the community is aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, the sort of the large managed service providers seem like they have the most interest in this. Like I know that Google has a interest in, a supportable feature set. I think that's still a goal, and I think Microsoft is the
Yeah.
same. Um, the So that's something that I can look at pulling more people into. I guess I am a little surprised, like from the Microsoft side, that there are, especially since you're at Microsoft, that there haven't been more attendees. And I know like something like the Helm work, Mitch has been
Yeah.
pretty involved in. So like I wonder if maybe people have forgotten that this meeting is happening, because Mitch has had strong opinions in some of the combined groups about these sorts of things.
I like that. And maybe that can fall on like how we have actually proposed what's happening in the subgroup right now. So like based on what you said, it makes me think that if our goal is supportable feature set, and like right now, hem install is like the topic of discussion, how could we use this space as a brainstorming opportunity for all parties that are interested in making sure the feature set is supported, can come and brainstorm and like actually pay attention to what is happening and not have it like lost in the weeds. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that is a matter of reframing, knowing who really cares about like the topic at hand, and reaching out to them to be like, hey, this is the current focus in like the main community. And let's use this next meeting to brainstorm around like what we need to take care of to make sure that this does not affect end users in like a stability standpoint. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think, and it might be good for, and I'm fine either person, one of us, check with Mitch. Like, this seems like something that's completely in which is Mitch's wheelhouse of things that he's concerned about. And so, like, did he like not know the meeting happened? Is it, because I do wonder if maybe it's just slipped off people's radar that this is a regular, especially since it happens monthly. It's
Yeah.
probably a little easier to miss. And if they don't have the calendar, the Istio calendar up, then they might just not see it.
Yeah, I like that. And so that means in the next weekend group, I'm gonna set a reminder. But then also I like the topic of like setting the aim of the next meeting to be like discussing him. install and like really fleshing out like what that looks like from a supportability standpoint. Yeah.
Yeah. While we're here, should I ping Mitch and just see if he's around and if he's interested in discussing it?
Sure, let me ping him actually
Are you good?
since,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, let's see.
Because I know I'm not going to have any strong opinions on Helm. I haven't used it much.
So, okay. And let me see. Maybe Mike will have strong opinions as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Both of them
It does.
seem to be right now. So if they don't, we could probably postpone the discussion to the next meeting. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and this does seem like an area where product managers would be particularly interested. So, and I can talk to our we have like a single PM now, and he's really busy. But yeah, I'll mention the meeting to him as well. But
Okay. So we should be finding the people who are interested in these topics and inviting them in. Yeah.
yes,
Cool. Cool. Um, I think overall, I think the meeting time is still valid, like additional meeting space to like discuss these things, because oftentimes the agenda is super long in the working group meetings, and we are more concerned about like what should we do next versus like the big picture. Yeah. Cool.
yeah,
So the next item for Cedar added, which was around dual stack, have been promoted to alpha. This is what she has been working on, and which is great news. I am not sure what is planned next for dual stack, but at this very moment, it's alpha. Do you have any use cases of dual stack in Google? Like, is this on your radar at all? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think there's been a push internally to get it, but I mean, just generally have dual stack, not particularly for service mesh. I haven't heard it really brought up in
In service mesh.
discussions. Yeah, but I presume it's going to be important, and there will
Yeah.
be.
Awesome. Cool. And well, the next topic was ham install, which we can skip for now, and feature status refresh. So this last time we had any activity on this was back in June, so it has sort of died down. I pinged John to see like what is needed, what support he needs to get this to land. But for the most part, we want a feature status overhaul because right now our Istio feature status page is not really meaningful to the user. So yeah, we have like all these different features that are at different. Oh, you're not seeing that page, my bad. Give me 1 second. Yes. So this is the document John proposed a while back, and we haven't had much activity since June. And the gist is we do need to overhaul this feature status page. I think it's just a matter of like us putting in the work to get it done. And the issues are right now we have features that have different levels of like, I guess, hierarchy, like a lot of sub features listed here versus like the high level features. And then we don't have a clear understanding of like what is stable in ambient mode versus sidecar mode, and also a clear picture of who our target user is for reading this. So we have proposed, well, John has proposed, and we have been iterating over comments how best to like present this information to the end user. And we are thinking that we should focus on the outline of this page first, where at the very top, we are going to focus on the architecture. Like right now, sidecar is stable, ambient is beta, and that is like framing the, I guess, the user's mind in terms of like what is the different modes in Istio. And then from there we can go into like the different features and stuff we support. But the question at hand now is like for each one of these categories, where is environments, installation, security, and so forth, what do we really, how do we define the feature, and how do we really inform the user of its stability in each mode? Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, so that's something I'm gonna spend some cycles in and see what I can do to get John to help John get this out there. Because I don't think other than Craig, myself, not a lot of people are like paying attention to this, but I think it is definitely needed. And then the other question there is like around the CRDs, right? Right now we have like the different APIs sprinkled throughout, but then like some APIs are stable, but the feature that uses it have different stability levels and so forth. And then like how much does the user really care about the API at the back end? So we have to decide if we want to showcase the API on this feature status page and how. Um, do you have any thoughts there? Because most times the user will not necessarily care about the stability of the API until they are sort of looking at like what fields they want to use, and they can reference the spec directly for that. Yeah. So I'm not sure we need to include it or not. Yeah.
Let's see. So yeah, I would think so. Yeah, looking at this list, there aren't very many that aren't GA at this point.
Yes. Yeah.
And actually, okay, maybe with the exception of, I get, let's see, I'm just looking at the, I mean, it's really just the extensibility other than proxy config. Yeah, it seems like it'd be less important if, you know, if just generally extensibility is not considered GA, then it's less important to indicate. I think this makes it look more confusing than it is.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
So it's the same. I think agreeing with you that I think that listing the stability may not be that important.
Yeah.
And just calling out like just that these ones, and those are pretty advanced features like Envoy filter and WASM plugin. Those are not ones that someone's just going to stumble upon, you know, playing around with Istio.
Yes. So mainly focus on calling out the ones that aren't GA,
Yeah.
and that would be around like the extensibility, underneath the extensibility section. Okay.
Yeah, because in that way, otherwise this makes it look like everything's a little bit more chaotic than I think it is.
I agree. Yep. Perfect. Okay. And then the last topic was, I think it was the ambient call where we, at this point, Mitch actually was the one who highlighted his frustration on we keep making decisions and we keep going back on it, and there isn't any clear way to actually track or capture consensus. So the topic on the hand was Helm, and we keep saying that we want Helm to be the approach moving forward, but then we killed any Helm initiatives, saying that okay, Istio Cuddle shines here. So I'm curious if there should be within our scope in terms of like figuring out how to improve our consensus tracking mechanisms around like different, for instance, technical decisions. Like we in the Hem world, we decided Hem is the future, but we don't want a Hem quick start persona. And like why? And making sure that everyone in the contributor like world understands like don't go spend cycles on creating a Hem wrapper because this is the general feelings within the community. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. Capturing that, I guess I took Mitch's frustration also, though, that um, there was sort of a decision that was made by TOC, and then they went back and then it started
Mm,
reevaluating it. So it's not just that it wasn't captured; it was just like that it actually didn't end up being settled.
I see.
Um, so, but I could be misinterpreting that. But that was my interpretation, was that It wasn't as much because it wasn't well documented that the conversation started again. It was just that people weren't necessarily happy with the consensus, and then they
I
started the
see.
conversation again.
Yeah. Okay. I see that as well. I did get that sense too. So I guess instead of like taking an approach of documentation, it's this should be a discussion with NTOC around like how long should decisions last for
Right.
before being revisited. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I think to me, yeah, it feels a little bit more of a TOC thing that they need to figure out how to, prevent having to relitigate everything.
Yeah.
But we should make sure though that whatever those decisions are um, documented, so that people are less likely to bring it up if they disagree or if they don't understand. But I think this may have just been an actual disagreement.
Okay. That sounds good. And I will add this to the TOC agenda for next week. But that's all on my end. Do you have any other topics that you would like to discuss? Mike is out of office and I haven't heard back from Mitch. So I think for our next call, we should definitely evangelize in the combined working group that we want to discuss ham thoroughly as much as we can in our next enhancements subgroup meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say maybe in the combined working group meeting that happens before the next one of these, then
Yes.
bring up, like, just put an item in there that, hey, we're going to have these conversations. Probably a
Yes.
good way to.
I like that. Yeah. Sounds good. Well, enjoy your week until we sync again.
All right, thanks. You too.
Bye.
All right, bye.